Hi guys, Melissa here with TCT Crafts. Today we are going to make, I think, our last Christmas design. This one is actually going to go on my front door. So I thought this would be a good one to end our Christmas designs with. After this, we're going to start moving on to Mardi Gras and Valentine's, then Easter and St. Patrick's and all of that stuff. Can you believe it? As a designer, we always have to be seasons ahead. So I think this will probably be our last Christmas. If another one comes in, it may be felt like a bonus. I'm just going to start with this frosted swag, teardrop swag base. This one is a 24-inch. This one might have came from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure just by looking at the SKU. But it is a 24-inch, so any 24-inch swag base will work. And I've just gone and kind of fluffed up all of the branches. Now I'm going to make this design without mesh. You can add mesh if you choose to do so. But this one for me is going to be without mesh. We're just going to use greeneries and sprays and some ornaments. And then our big juicy bow in the middle. So I've got our base fluffed out. I'm going to turn it back around so I can see it. And we're going to start with a couple greenery stems. These are just some flocked greenery. They had some larger pine cones. I went ahead and took the large pine cones off. It still has a couple little pine cones, which I'm okay with. But I took the long ones, or the large ones off. So I'm just going to fluff this out a little bit. Kind of see where I want it to sit. A little bit, I want it to come up a little bit higher than where the end of the swag base is. So that's pretty good. I don't need this long of a stem. So let me get my stem cutter. We're going to cut some of that stem off. I'm just going to place it there for now. I'm not going to zip tie or anything yet because we're going to have another spray that's going to go on top. Okay, so I'm just kind of weaving that in and out of my swag base. I'm going to take my other one. The other one is going to go to the bottom. And I don't need, again, this long stem, so I'm going to cut some of that off. Just going to fan these out. Sort of weave these. I like to kind of weave them instead of just placing it on top and making it look like it's layers. Really work your greenery in together. Make it look like it's all sort of intertwined. Okay, so those two are going to go there. Then I have another one. It's very similar, just a little bit different. It also had large pine cones. And I went ahead and took the pine cones off. So this I want to lay just a little bit lower than the top one. So right about there looks good. So let me cut some of this stem off. Again, this one's going to come a little bit, so I went all the way to the top with the other one. This one I'm going to lay a little bit lower, just so it's hitting in some places that the other one isn't, giving us a little bit more coverage. Okay. This one, again, is going to go up a little higher. Cut some of the stem off. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. This one's going to go up a little higher, kind of right in this area. And we're going to save this last one. We're going to cut it up in little pieces and use it for filler later at the end. So I know I like that placement. So I'm going to go ahead and take 2 of these pine ties and just tie them around. Then we're going to get a zip tie too. I'm going to take a couple ties, just tie it around there. Okay, now let me get a zip tie. We're going to go right down through this, around the spine of this base. And we're going to zip tie those stems that we overlapped. We're going to zip tie them together. Okay, nice and tight. Okay. I'll go ahead and add some glue there. Just give it a little extra support. And I think what we're going to do next is make our bow. So this is a very similar recipe than as some of the other swags we've done, I guess. These are my favorite. I probably love making swags more than I do wreaths, and I kind of have a pattern that I usually typically try to stick to. It may vary slightly, but for the most part, it's fairly the same recipe, and that makes it easier when you're, especially this time of year when we're super busy, just to kind of help speed up the process. You kind of have your recipe already, you know, in your head as to what you're going to do. So I'm going to set this aside for just a second. We're going to make our bow. I know I want a big bow right in here. Probably a tail going up, maybe a cascading tail going down. I'm just going to set that aside and get my bow maker. And I'm going to be using 2 ribbons. I'm going to be using this really pretty, it's a Regency 4-inch ribbon. I got this one, I think, last year. So I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to use this pink sequins ribbon. We have some of these left in the shop. So this pretty pink ribbon. So I'm going to be using these 2 together. And I know I'm going to want a tail kind of coming up that way. So I'm going to go ahead and put my tail up like that. I'm going to do about 7-inch loops. About 7 inches. Seven inches on that side, and then just scrunch it down. Okay, I'm not going to cut this tail yet because I'm going to probably do a little roller coaster loop down the swag. I like to do that a lot of times on the swags. So let's get our pink in. Do it this way. So again, I'm going to put my tail up, pinch it there in the center so that our pretty side stays. When we make our loop, the pretty side will be on top. And I'm going to make this about 6 inches. It's going to be about 1 inch shorter. Twist it. again, about 6 inches, and scrunch it down. So I'm just doing 2 loops. You could do more if you wanted a fuller bow. I'm going to get my zip tie. You can use a pipe cleaner. It's just a preference. And I'm going to run that other zip tie through the back. Fluff up my loops and then make it tighter. There we go. Cut the back of that off. Okay, I'm done with the bow maker, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. So I want it just a little bit higher than center. So I'm going to run that zip tie back around the spine again. Okay, now let's do our ducktails up here. Do that one a little bit shorter. Just love these colors. Okay, now I'm going to take our ribbon, make sure they're overlapped, kind of give it a little curve, pinch it, and I have a pine tie right in here. Right in there. That will hold that together for me. And I'll add a little touch of glue onto it as well, just to make sure it doesn't come undone. Okay, now I'm going to cut our tail. I'm going to cut it just a little bit longer than, just a tiny bit longer than our pine that's sticking out. Go ahead and give it a ducktail. And there we go. We have a pretty bow with a little roller coaster loop. If you didn't want to do the loop, you could just have tails. Just let the tails hang long. That would be pretty as well. Okay. Now I'm trying to think if I think I might want to tail a ribbon up at the top. I don't measure, I just put it in there and kind of get the length that I want. I think I'm going to actually do it off to the side just a little bit. Do my dovetails. So I didn't go straight in the center. It's actually tied in right there on the side just a little. So it's just got A little bit of movement to that side over there. Okay. So we went to the side over here. I'm thinking I want to put a tail like right in here, right in this kind of hole to the side right here to kind of mirror what we did up here. So what we did here, I'm going to take it and do it right here, kind of a diagonal pattern. Okay. Again, I don't measure. I'm just going to kind of get my we're going to do this off to the side over here. I'm going to leave this tail a little bit longer. I'm going to leave this one shorter, this one a little bit longer. Do our dovetails. This is so pretty. You could literally stop right here. If you just like the greenery look, just like the look of the pine, just the pine with the ribbon is super pretty. And if these aren't the colors you wanted, just think if you did like a red and a green or green and a gold, just having the pine with the ribbon, super pretty. Let's see if I can move you guys up just a hair. There we go. So that would be pretty just like it is, but we're going to keep going. Let me pick the ribbon up off the floor so I don't step on it. Okay, so we're done with our ribbon. That's all the ribbon I'm going to put in it. Next, I'm going to add, I think I'm going to add our large ornament balls. So I have these large ornaments. Let's see if I can get the top off. If I can't, it's no big deal. Like I said, this one's going on my door. And I'm thinking we're going to have one up in this area and one down in this area. And I can't get that top off, so I'm just going to glue it really well. If you were making this to ship to a customer, you could take a pipe cleaner, make sure you super glue this top on, and you can run the pipe cleaner through here and then use the pipe cleaner. Well, we could just go ahead and do it. Let's just go ahead and do it. So I'm going to use hot glue. I would use super glue if it was going to a client. Try not to touch it. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a second. Let's get the other one ready. So I'm going to put glue all the way around just to make sure that little topper doesn't come off, because sometimes they'll pop off. I'm not going to have people pulling on this or anything. It's going to just, like I said, hang on my front porch, so I'm not worried about it. I'm going to glue it in too. Okay. So I have two of these. Ooh, luckily it wasn't hot. One's shiny, one's matte. I'm going to use both. I'm going to go ahead and take that that pipe cleaner, feed it through. And get this tied off in there. I probably should have made my pipe cleaner a little bit longer, would have been easier, but we can get it. So now it's tied in there, but I want to glue it. So I'm going to add all kinds of glue to this ball because I don't want it flopping around. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on this side. It's going to actually touch that ribbon. This ball will not go anywhere. Okay. So I've got the bottom one in. Let's do the top one. And it's going to sit right in this, let me show you. It's going to sit right in this little pocket where we tied our ribbon. It's going to sit right in that little pocket. I'm just going to take this pipe cleaner and tie it around this pine tie. The same pine tie we used to tie in the ribbon. Just tying it around there. And then again, I'm going to just douse it with glue. I use the Gorilla Glue sticks, and that stuff holds very well. So again, I'm just going to glue it all where that's touching that pine, touching that ribbon. It is not going to come off. Okay. Get another glue stick. While I'm holding this for just a second, get a little drink. Okay. Now I have these little poinsettia picks. These actually came from Hobby Lobby. I don't remember if I got them last year or this year, but I know they have them. They have them in different colors. So I'm going to just take the tag off and find where I want my placement. So I want this one to kind of hug the ornament. It's going to sit like that. I like that, so I'm going to go ahead and dip it in my glue pot. And just weave it up in there. You could take and kind of cheat a little bit, put a little dab of hot glue and just kind of glue this back of this poinsettia to that ball, just so you know it's not going to go anywhere. You put a little bit over here, kind of glue it to that ribbon. Perfect. Okay, so we got our top flower in. And then the next one I'm going to put, I think, right in this section, kind of cover up that hole. Just kind of fan these out. When you buy them, they come all squished. Try to fix some of my leaves. Okay. Let me just kind of see how I want this one. Yeah, I like that. So let me dip it in my glue. Now I'm just sticking it in there. You can actually take, well, I can do it here. Take one of your pine ties and just wrap it around that. Wrap it around the stem. That just gives you a little bit of extra support besides the glue. Again, I'm going to take a little dab of glue. Just let that touch there. Okay. So now we have our flowers in. Super pretty already. Okay, now I have two smaller ornaments that I want to use to just kind of tuck in on the side. We don't want to forget about the side because you're walking up to a door, depending on how the door is, you can see the side too. So I'm just going to take and, again, you could use your pipe cleaner and tie this in, but I'm just going to use lots of glue. And that one's going to go right on this side. So I just have it tucked, you can just see it's tucked in right there. So we've got that one there. I'm going to do the other one, just diagonal, filling in this hole over here. So just kind of keep in the pattern. So one here, one here. You can see it's kind of tucked in right there. Okay. Those are the last of our big items. Now we're going to start adding some sprays around the outside, and then we have my favorite snowy mint bush for filler. And we still have this other one as well at the end. If we see some spots that we need to fill in with some greenery, we can clip these up and just kind of tuck them in. Let's do our sprays first. So I'm going to use these sort of mint green, sort of up between a mint, sage, green. It's not the exact same color of this, but it brings that color out. You probably can't, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but so I'm going to use some of these. I'm just going to cut them up into pieces. I'm going to leave these two together a little bit longer for the ends. Okay, I'm going to put the longer pieces over there. We had these in stock at the time of the video. However, Christmas stuff is just selling off the shelf. So by the time you watch, they may not be there any longer. They may be sold out. But we did have some of these still left. Okay, I'm going to leave this one longer. Let's cut up one more. So we're going to use 3 of these. We're going to use 3 of the green. And then I brought in some white just to lighten it up. I thought about pink, but I think the white will just give it a little pop. Just to add a little contrast. We have the white on the edge of our ribbon there. So we're going to go with the white. Kind of goes with our frosted greenery as well. I'll leave this one a little longer. We can cut it up if we need to, but we know we're going to at least need 2 of the longer pieces. Okay. So I'm going to take one of the longer pieces that have kind of 2 together. And we're going to go right up underneath. I just kind of lifted this greenery up. I'm going in between that greenery spray we added and the swag base. And I'm letting it hang just a tiny bit longer than that greenery. So we added it just down here, okay? Since I have it flipped, I'll go ahead and do another tall piece for up top. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lift this greenery that we placed. It's going to go between the greenery and that swag base. And now we have a piece up here. Okay. I don't think we need another long piece unless we have it come maybe out. Out maybe where we have our little roller coaster. Let me see. That might be a good spot to kind of use that one. But I think I want to add a little piece of greenery there. We've kind of got a little bit of a hole. And that's because that's where we have our little hump there. So I'm going to add a little bit of greenery. Just tuck it up underneath there, kind of help fill in that hole. And then I'm going to take this spray and tuck right in between that greenery and our little ornament that we placed right there on the side. Okay. Now I'm just going to start going around. Let's see how many pieces we have, so I know how many we can do on each side. We've already got one on the side, so this one can get an extra one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 12 pieces. So we can do 6 per side, except for I'm going to give 7 on that other side since I already put a piece right here. Or if we need it at the top. Okay, so I'm just going to dip this in my glue pot, and I'm going to go in between that teardrop swag, in between those pine ties. So let me see if I can show you. You can see how these ties are down here. I'm just picking it up and kind of going in between there and letting it sandwich between the pine ties. Just going to go all the way around the side. Remember, we have some of the white to add as well, so leave a little bit of space in between each one. We can always come back to and maybe add like one up under here, up underneath the bow. That would be pretty if we've got some pieces left. So I'm going to go right behind our ornament ball. You don't want to leave that hole. So I'm going right up under there. Okay. And then I'm going to go right up under the ornament ball up here. And just continue going around. Just fanning out these pine ties and sandwiching it in between. And that's going to create sort of like a layer, like we've got some stuff kind of towards the bottom and not everything up at the top. Okay, we have a couple pieces, so I think I want to do one in here by the bow. And maybe one up under the bow here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so we've gone all the way around, add a couple of pieces around the bow. Now let's cut up our white honey locust spray. Just going to use 2 of these. Cut these into pieces. And it looks like we're going to have 6 again. 6 on each. We may have to cut one in half if we need more. But we're just going to use this to kind of fill in between where we put those green ones. Leave this one a little bit longer. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take this longer one and it's going to go down towards the bottom underneath the ornament. You can see it's kind of sticking right there by the ornament. I'm going to come up underneath this tail, put another one right there. Okay, now I'm just going to go in between the greens and do the same thing. I'm lifting up those pine ties and kind of tucking them in there. This one I want to go right up underneath this ornament ball, in between the ball and the pine. See if I have one that's longer than the other. They all are pretty much the same. Okay, this glue is getting everywhere. It's going to take me 10 minutes after the video to pick up all of the glue strings. Okay. Do this one up underneath the tails up here. I'm just continuing to work my way around. Okay. Just finding in between spots. And tucking it in there. I think we need this last piece up here. I think I'm going to put it right up kind of underneath. Lift up some of the greenery. Don't be afraid to lift up that greenery and just stick stuff in there. So I kind of lifted up this greenery right here and kind of stuck it in there so it wasn't just like sitting right on top. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Okay, so lastly we have our snowy mint. Before I add that, I'm going to cut this greenery up and see if there's any spots that we need a little bit of this greenery, a little bit more, oh, what's the right word? I don't know, but like this pine, thicker, I guess, greenery. We've got a couple pieces of that. Let me just look and see if there's any spots that look like we need. I think right here by this ornament ball we need a piece. So I stuck a piece right here by this ornament ball. We had a little hole. I see a hole like right here. So let's add a piece right in there. And I think right here, let's see, got a hole here though too, so let's see. We'll put this piece more inside and then we'll use this to go around on the outside. Okay, so let me show you what I did. I had this little hole right up under this flower. So this was a longer piece of greenery. I just stuck it down in there to kind of fill in that hole. Now we'll take our snowy mint bush and we'll kind of go all the way around the sides and just tuck in little places where we still see some holes. This is also good. I'll do it on the table and then I'll always save some, hang it up, and then look at it from a, you know, eyesight for my, I cannot talk today, guys. I'm sorry. I'll look at it eye level and then see if there's anything I see. Also, if you take a picture or take a little video and then go back and watch it, sometimes you'll see stuff will show up that you see that you missed. Maybe a little hole or something you missed. So these branches come pretty long. We're not going to keep them long. We're going to cut them into pieces. So you can actually get a lot of coverage with one bush. I brought 3 just in case we needed it, but we may not need it. It's pretty covered. So I'm just going to cut these in half to give us little pieces. We've stuffed this one pretty good, so we may use 2, but I don't think we're going to need all 3. Okay, so now I'm just going to start going around and filling in the little holes with some of this snowy pine bush. I'm going to go right up underneath this ornament. Turn this so you can see where I just started kind of adding some little pieces. I added a piece right here up underneath this ornament. Let's add one. Let's add one down, like right there. Just so we can kind of create that pattern. I'm going to do one right up Let me find a shorter piece. I want to kind of cover up where we tied that, where we did our roller coaster tail and we tied it in. We don't have an ornament or anything right here. Usually I'll try to put an ornament there, but since I didn't, I'm going to take a little bit of this and just have that kind of hide. Now that kind of hides where we tied that in. Okay. I want to put a piece there in the center so it doesn't look like we forgot about the center of the wreath there. Everything's just all flowing together. And you could totally skip this part. It was very pretty without it. I just love this bush, so I just like to fill it in, like have it as filler. Let's get a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do this one. Kind of tuck it up underneath there. Trying to see if I want one up underneath this little poinsettia flower. Let's do it. Right, coming out of there. Go up underneath this ornament ball. Okay, these are a couple shorter pieces, so I'm going to go ahead and cut up some more. And that went all the way around that side, so we should be able to get away with 2 bushes. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one to the side, save that for another project. And let's cut some of these up. Okay, so let me get one of the longer pieces and I'm going to tuck right up underneath this flower. Let me get another longer piece and tuck up here in between the ornaments. Okay, so you can see I took a longer piece and stuck it underneath the flower. I took another longer piece that kind of came out to here to fill in this hole. We're going to take that one in there. Just continuing to go all the way around the outside. one in the middle here underneath this loop. Okay. Now let me see if I want to put a piece. Yeah, just looks like it's just all kind of coming out of that bow. It's just gonna sit right down in there. Okay, so I have a few pieces left. I'm gonna save those because I know when I hang it up, I'm gonna see some spots. But for the most part, we are done. There's our beautiful swag. Hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, bye guys.